Welcome to Nice and Blunt. It's week 5, time for another podcast where we recap week 4. Today we're going to go a little bit more subscriber league focused. We have not given the subscriber league some love in a while, and that'll probably be our focus. But welcome back to the channel, Angus McKay. And, we're at the top of the video. I'm going to give you a solid, minute or two. You can rant about anything, any topic you'd like, Angus. What are some takeaways from week 4?
Yeah, um, it is not too early to start drinking, is my honest to God opinion. Rashee Rice, again, I'll just say this. In best ball, I had him. He was my number one most drafted player. I believed in that motherfucker more than anybody. I was like, I drank the Kool-Aid. I was like, this makes all the sense in the world. And yeah, this is like on top of an already like shitty time I've been having in the Blunt League. We'll get to it, but I'm gonna go 0-4 probably at the end of this when I should be 2-2. To get that, like the Rashee Rice news. In the one league I'm doing well. There's one league we're in that I'm doing well and I was undefeated. I have Rashee Rice in there and he's been printing me money. I'm boned there. The fucking Chiefs. I have Mahomes in a different league. I swear to God, the most overrated guy I've ever seen. They are going to win a Super Bowl again because that's just what keeps happening. But it's going to be because their defense is elite. They are going to win in spite of Mahomes, and everyone's going to be like, oh, greatest of all time. Oh my God, is he better than Brady now? Oh, he's the new Jordan. Fuck off with that shit. This guy, they're winning despite him. Again, every fucking game he does his Larry Bird impression where he's like where Larry Bird would like shoot with his left hand sometimes randomly just to prove how good he was. This asshole throws the most dog shit interception you've ever seen, and then they still find a way to win. That is the most accurate comp I have heard. That he is just overrated, absolutely overrated. Chargers should have won that game, and my God, what a disgrace.
Well, he hears how overrated you think he is, and he's like, okay, well, I'm going to win, and I'm going to kneecap my best player and prove to you why I am so good. I'm going to blindly look away as I try to put my
How is that
shoulder.
not the worst? What like in the top 10 worst plays in NFL history
What was
anyone's
so it
ever
was
done?
what was so bad about it is like literally a second before he does this and like looks away from doing it. He
Look
didn't even watch
away.
as he did it. Rashee Rice swats the ball,
Yeah.
forces a fumble, and
Yeah.
then Mahomes completely misses the
Oh
guy that
yeah.
just picked him off. The guy spins out of it, and with his eyes closed, looking the other way. Okay, let me just break my best player's ACL.
Again, how is that not the worst perform like top 10 worst plays anyone's ever done? I'm gonna throw and again the so last year Mahomes throwing interceptions, it was like to Kadarius Toney right in the breadbasket and it dings off his hands and a defender catches it. That's not his fault. Like, yeah,
No.
it's an interception, but it's not his fault. These are like the worst throws you've ever seen a quarterback throw. This is like watching Bryce Young or Zach Wilson play, and you're like, well, that was just to the other person. What the like if he was blurred out and you couldn't see who was throwing the ball, and then someone was like, that's the best quarterback in the league and the maybe the best of all time. You'd be like, you are high off your ass. If you like, what am I watching? That is the worst throw I've ever seen. It's like way above the guy. I think he threw it to Kelsey. Kelsey can't even jump anymore. Maybe that was the fucking problem. All around, I don't see how. Jokes aside, I don't see how these clowns win a Super Bowl again. I feel like they are just because that's what's going to happen. But like, how
They
do they do that
it's their
now?
defense. Their defense is so good that they can win these games because it's like, well, once we score 20, we're just automatically winning because our defense holds every opponent to less than 20. It seems like, but yeah,
But yes, that is true. How can you then though say, "Oh, Mahomes is the greatest of all time"? He's not the reason they're winning.
well, it's
You
about the
can't.
past. It's not about this year. It's about the past. When you win all
Well,
these playoff games down 10, and you're back to back champs, and every single year you've been the starter, you make the AFC Championship game. Like that's the reason. But
I
no, this
get
year
it,
he
but
sucks. This year,
at the
happy to see
same
it.
time, we saw. Let's take Russell Wilson for a second, right? Russell Wilson, undeniably at his peak, was like one of the better quarterbacks in the league, but he has now had such a and like I would say at that time, if he instead of going to Denver was like, I'm retiring, like I'm just retiring. Yeah, he's probably a Hall of Famer. Maybe not first ballot, but he's getting in there because he
With
had
two
such a run.
Super Bowl appearances, yeah, it's in the conversation.
It's in the conversation. But now, with how bad his career has been post Seattle, I can't imagine that doesn't make it kind of up in the air more, where everyone's
No,
like, well, you had such a fall from grace here that, like, yeah, we have to consider it. Like, yeah, you had such a amazing peak, but now you've fallen. Like, if this is the new him, and like, I don't know. Like, I just, and I'm guessing Steve Spagnuolo gets a head coaching job next year. He probably should.
he probably
Like,
won't.
you don't think so?
No, they don't hire like old defensive coaches anymore. Like unless it's like
Yeah.
Mike McDonald, like there are very few defensive guys. Like D'Amico Ryans is one of like the exceptions, but
Yeah.
like it's rare that you talk yourself into like you're definitely hiring Belichick before you
Yeah.
hire Spagnola. So how many teams can actually how many open spots are there? I
Hmm.
don't think so, but you never know. It's possible.
Never know. But I mean, to be fair, to your point, like I didn't even realize Eric Bieniemy's not even coaching in the NFL anymore.
No.
When everyone was like, "Oh, he should get a head coaching job," and yeah, I don't know, man, just fucking awful. Sorry, just
No,
absolutely
let
awful.
it rip, man. It's
What a
Monday.
brutal week. Absolutely brutal week. Can't believe of all the things to happen. Like I like it's getting the notification on your phone. And I wasn't watching the game where it's just like, oh, Mahomes threw an interception and Rashee Rice was hurt on the play. I'm like, well, it can't be that bad. And then you watch it, and I'm like, oh, that's a torn ACL. Like sometimes you watch it and you're like, oh, clearly that's what happened. His leg is planted and Mahomes goes flying into it. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me? The one shining light of your offense for fantasy, and you just obliterate his ACL
Yeah,
like that.
maybe it
Like,
was just like Swift that like called into the headset is like I need my boyfriend to be
yeah.
the focal point this year. So get on it, bitch.
God, and how do you not believe in karma after that? Like Rashee Rice getting an ACL tear from being crashed into
Yeah,
by someone when he wasn't like
I
the
saw some funny
parallel,
memes where it
the
was like
parallel, man.
comparing Mahomes to Bobby Boucher. Uh, it's like you picked me off. I'm gonna decimate my own player, and then another one of Rashee Rice, where it was like all of the people that got into the car crash on the highway, just like it's about time, motherfucker. So yeah,
God.
from our standpoint as Charger fans, it'll be interesting to watch. Maybe we have a
Yeah.
shot at the division now, but watch them like trade for DeAndre Hopkins. You know what I mean?
They're going
Like,
to get somebody. I like some people have already mentioned like go get Devontae Adams. There's no way that's gonna
no,
fucking happen.
not off the
Uh,
Raiders in division. Fuck no.
no.
But
They'll
Hopkins, I could
probably go
envision.
get they'll probably go get somebody. I think they yeah, it could be Hopkins. Could like it'll be somebody on a shitty team. People throw out the like Keenan on the Bears. I don't think that's gonna
No,
happen.
that's not going to happen. But
No fucking way.
I don't think
It'll be
Keenan would be
somebody.
comfortable going to the Chargers, the Chargers' biggest rival. But I think if T
Yeah.
Higgins wasn't on the Bengals, like if it wasn't a rivalry there, I think they could trade for him. But obviously, that's not going to happen. Similar to Devontae,
Yeah, I think it'll be whatever they can get for like a fifth round pick or like a fourth round pick. Like a
they might
middle.
overspend. I wouldn't put it past them. Like you know, th-
Yeah.
they're in the
Yeah.
window. It's like we have how much longer with Kelsey? This might be his last year. Like let's do it.
I,
We
I
don't
think
have
they'll, I
Pacheco
mean,
either. You know, like
what did they give up for Kadarius Toney? Whatever they did
I
there, I
think it was a
think
fourth or
that's what.
fifth, yeah, but he was like a first rounder. The
So,
contract,
so I think they do that where they're like, let's go find somebody who maybe has underperformed. Not Rashad Bateman, but you know what I mean, where it's like someone because not the Ravens probably don't want to part with him, but someone like that where you're like, you were a first round receiver, You're now underperforming. I guess Garrett Wilson. Fuck off with that. Like,
If Judy didn't just get traded, they might be
yeah,
able to get him.
someone
But
like
yeah.
Judy. It'll be someone like that where you're like, there's been a lot of hype about you, but you've just never really achieved what you were supposed to achieve.
All right.
Or they're confident Marquise Brown will come back for
I
the
doubt it.
NFL
No,
postseason. I don't know.
I don't think so. Anyways,
Yeah.
let's make a pivot. Let's
Let's
move on.
pivot. That felt good. That had to
Yeah.
happen.
You started to go off before we record. I was like, no, just save it, just save it, just say it.
No, and this has been like the fifth version of this rant, with all the other versions have been me shouting it in my home because I work from home, so I don't have to worry about anyone hearing for
All right. Well, let's get into
it's
the
evolved. It's evolved.
I'm glad. Let's get into the subscriber league where here on the screen you can pull it up and follow along on your phone if you'd like, but the viewers at home can see my matchup this week where I'm probably going to lose. I'm probably going to fall to 2-2, but I am up 8 points over the reigning champ in the subscriber league, Pasture Interferents. I've got an 8-point lead with Jahmyr Gibbs and Jamison Williams left, and I'm facing still 4 players: Tony Pollard, DK Metcalf, Laporta, and Montgomery. I actually feel like I've got a shot. Like, I think Pollard could probably close this gap, put up 8 points. Metcalf, I'm a little worried about, but if you told me that
Mhm.
Gibbs scores the touchdowns and Montgomery doesn't, like, that's obviously what I need. And then
Yeah.
Laporta still doesn't play well and JMO bounces back after a dud last week, I feel like I have a legit shot. I'm not out of it, but it's definitely behind the 8 ball. It's an uphill battle.
I think you 100% have a shot. Like there's just the way that the Lions offense always works is it's like someone or like not all four of them are going to do any like there's someone's going to underperform and two people have the chance to go off, maybe even three. So like you're hoping that the underperformer is on that side of the ball, and you could envision the scenario where it's like, oh, it's that person who's going to underperform.
Yeah, if this is a Laporta game, I have no chance. But if he continues to be a bummer, then I've got a shot.
Hmm.
But I did kind of screw myself a little bit. I risked the Cam Akers start because on
Hmm.
Thursday, Joe Mixon hadn't practiced yet, and Mixon didn't play. But I got stuck by playing Cam Akers, and I have Rico Dowdle on the bench. I should have just started Rico Dowdle. I cost myself like 7.5 points
Yeah,
by.
but you got the IU call right, it seems.
Yes, I did bench Ayuk. I,
Oh
I, I
God.
feel like Jennings is just too involved now to really feel confident in Ayuk as he's struggled early on. I'm taking the L on Ayuk. I think at this point I have to. I was way too high with Ayuk and he's just not playing well. But Nico Collins really saved me
Yeah,
here with 30
he's
points.
printing money for you for sure.
Tank Dell hurt,
I
but
oh, what were you
still.
saying? Well, up until this Rashee Rice injury, I was like, oh, I clearly prefer Rice over Nico. Like I did feel that. But with Rice now leaving, it's like, oh, Nico's a first round pick. If
Yeah,
we
they
really
were on
keep
the
that
same
in that.
tier, but yeah, now it's obvious who you'd prefer.
Well, because now it becomes, would you rather have like clearly you'd rather have Nico than Garrett Wilson, like 100%.
100%.
But like it then gets into the would you rather like injuries aside, would you rather have Nico or AJ Brown?
Yeah, that's very
I
legit. I
think
think I'd rather have
I'm
Nico.
leaning Nico, just kind of like I think he has that dominant role, and like I don't know, I feel like they're close, but that's where he should have gone.
I think you can honestly argue for Nico over Jamar Chase because Jamar, yeah, has the explosiveness, but he's not getting the volume. Nico just had
Yeah.
12 targets here. Like,
But
Nico's
again, like
fantastic.
he's clearly in that like first round wide receiver category, especially with Rice getting hurt. Like he's 100% there. Like he's probably there on his own accord, but with that happening, you're like, all right, well, yeah, you're up there
Would you
easily.
would you rather have Nico Collins or Malik Neighbors?
God.
That's a
That's
good
where it
question,
gets
right?
interesting for me. Fuck, that's really good. Na the neighbor's target share is unreal.
I
It's
know.
truly unreal, and
Insane.
I don't think that's going anywhere.
I don't think so either.
I think I'd pick Nico, but it's close.
It's
Um,
very close, and I think it just
yeah,
kind of comes down to touchdowns and the
yeah,
quarterback as like a tiebreaker, not like obviously Nico. So
yeah,
yeah, Neighbors is really good. Brian Thomas looking fantastic. He came through for me. A touchdown and 86 yards. Also had some rushing yards, but I was right to bench Richardson again. Granted, he got hurt, so not
yeah.
really the greatest call. He was looking good before he got injured. Like he was running quite well
Yes.
on Pittsburgh, but hit
Mhm.
pointer. Now I'm kind of worried about him. I do see a big bounce back if he does play against the Jags next week, but
Mhm.
you know, injuries were a concern entering the year, and until he gets like consistently involved, like without mistakes, I do think I may have been wrong about Richardson. I'll admit
Yeah.
to that. But on the bench, I benched T. Higgins, but that wasn't really a big deal. I'm glad I have
Yeah.
Jamison Williams in the flex right now. Like I've got a legit
Yeah,
shot.
for
But
sure. I think so.
Steelers let me down. 2 points from Steelers. That was a bummer.
Yeah.
For the interference, he's got Sam Darnold and he's feeling great about it. Like Darnold
What
looks.
sucks there is I outbid him for Derek Carr way back when. So you're welcome for that. That you get to now have Sam, like MVP front runner Sam Darnold. Let's go fight on Trojans or whatever the like, God. Isn't it wild that like Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold are like the two best quarterbacks in fantasy and seemingly the NFL,
Yeah.
and they're just like absolutely abandoned by their original franchises.
Well, it's hilarious that like this year, like, you know, in that draft class, it was like, okay, well, Josh Allen was like, has been amazing. Lamar Jackson has won 2 MVPs. And now finally Darnold is turning into something. It took a while, but he looks good. Baker has figured it out. And then there's Josh Rosen. And like the broadcast was like, oh, he's in business school now. In
My
case you
God.
were wondering.
Yeah, it's just wild the turn of events. Again, I'll every time I come on here take my L on the Vikings. I had them maybe going 0-5. That was just blatantly a bad
You
take.
weren't the only one, man. Most people did not believe
Like,
in Darnold.
my
So
God.
it is what it is. I didn't expect this, and I was like a believer in Darnold. So
Do you see that Nick Swartzen clip on the Rich Eisen show? He went on, and, the actor Nick
yeah,
Swartzen, he's a big Vikings fan. He went on the Rich Eisen show, and as a joke, Rich Eisen was like, "I need you to tell me all on the Vikings schedule which one's a win or a loss," and he literally said "win" for every one of them. And I went back today, and all the top comments were like, you're good so far." Like,
the guru Nick Swartzen. um,
God, it's impressive.
I
It's
know.
it's like I have no idea. Like they feel like a legit like.
Super Bowl
uh,
team.
I don't know. Like granted they let the Packers come back, but like still their offense and defense are just humming and they're only going to get better. Like Addison's back now. He looked great. We'll probably get to
Hawkinson
him.
will return.
Hawkinson will get back.
Yeah.
They have a solid run game. I don't know what stops them
Well,
almost.
one like really underrated thing about them that most people like don't bring up because like the JJ McCarthy pick was like clearly the big news out of the draft, but like you remember the clip of like Kevin O'Connell in the draft room when they traded up for Dallas Turner at like 16 or 15 and everyone
Mhm.
thought that Dallas Turner was like going to go number 8 to the Falcons and like should have been the first defensive player off the board and
Mhm.
like I don't know if he's been like the most important piece for them, but like that was a huge signing, well, draft
Mhm.
pick. And Flores is just so dominant with his defensive game plan. Like they have
Mhm.
so many pieces and they're only getting better, it feels like, as the
Yeah.
chemistry gets more and more cohesive. Like, yeah, I'd be
Yeah.
very afraid of the Vikings. The Jets gonna lose this week in London, right?
Oh yeah. I would bet so. International games, I'm always like this. The weird shit happens.
Could be
Sometimes
weird, but
I
also a
would,
revenge game for Darnold.
yeah, I would 100% pick the Vikings to win. The Jets look like ass. We'll get to that, but
Other notes on the interference roster. He's got Chuba Hubbard, and
for
honestly,
now
as
that's
someone who
good.
has Jonathan Brooks, I'm a little bit worried about Chuba Hubbard like being legit after Brooks comes back. Chuba Hubbard looks fantastic, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's looking great. That's one where like I would look to maybe see what you can get, like if you have Chuba Hubbard, just because like I do think at worst, if you're a Chuba Hubbard, well, sorry, at best, if you're a Chuba Hubbard owner, I think they're going to want to see what they have with Brooks.
Right.
Especially if the offense looks functional. They're like, all right, let's see what we got here. So it
Yeah.
would be a split. I don't think Chuba's going to retain like a elite role.
Not
If
elite, but they'll probably slow play it. And Sanders has been involved, so they are using like two running backs in this backfield.
yeah,
But it might be like a few weeks before they give like Brooks like a full workload, knowing that Chuba looks good. But Godwin plays okay. They win big, and he doesn't score a touchdown. But you're not worried about Godwin.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
on his bench, he had Olave, who didn't score a touchdown but had a solid game, 8 for 87. The volume is
Yeah.
there. Shakir had an okay game with 8.2. Shaheed
Yeah.
showed up. Shaheed was all
What
right.
I don't know if you want to talk about this now. Do you want, what's your take on like Buffalo in general following this
I'm
game?
not worried about Buffalo at all. I think
Yeah.
the Ravens are just like they are very much in win now mode. Like it's critical when they go 0-2, and like it's at home Sunday night
Yeah.
football, an opponent that you can't ever like look past. And I think they just showed up to play
Yeah.
from the jump, and like no one could stop Derrick Henry, and it was just like, all right, well, it's not really working tonight, but we'll be fine. I'm not worried about Buffalo at all.
Yeah.
I do think Shakir might be moving back in the ranks a little bit because Keon Coleman looks a little legit.
Hmm.
But
Sure.
otherwise, Shakir and him are solid flex plays every week. Zamir White, probably someone that's getting cut like across the board this week.
Yeah, for sure. Like
Huge
I
drop
just
candidate.
don't know what you're hoping for with that, for
No.
sure.
So good luck, Pasture Interference.
Hmm.
I
That's a good
think you'll
one.
win, but it's not guaranteed. If Jamison Williams has a great game, we will find
Hmm.
out. But we've got 5 more matchups. Let's move on to. You want to just talk about yours?
Ah, fuck it. Let's hurry up.
So Angus is
Yeah.
browning out. He's here with 81.6 points. He still has JSN, but he's down 14. And your opponent is done. I don't think you're out of the woods, man.
I
I do think you could perform well despite the
I
bagel
need
from
him to
Kyle Pitts.
score. I need him to score.
Yeah,
Um, like you look at this and it's like I don't even know where to begin here. I mean, I'm happy I have Justin Fields. Like
great
that's
game.
nice.
Wow.
Like real great game. I'll start him every week going forward. Like with how bad the passing attacks have been for teams this year, I think running quarterbacks are just that much more valuable for what
Hmm.
they can give you on the ground in terms of a floor. Good God, Brees and the Jets in general just absolutely thrashed me on this
You
one.
started 3 Jets and Kyle Pitts.
Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson for the entire first quarter combined for -1.
Yeah.
It was the most insane thing I've ever seen. Where I was just like, what is happening? Like how is this even happening to me right
No,
now?
the weather was a factor, but like Brees owns this matchup and he barely got any work. Like Brees
Yeah,
had like how many rush attempts? 10? How is that not like 25 in this type of
yeah.
game? You know what I mean?
Oh
Like
yeah.
what the fuck are you calling, Hackett?
No, like Hackett is the all like I really needed the Jets to lose this game. Like this they had to lose this game because I need like change to happen and it might not come because of this, but you stack up enough of these types of games where like after the end of the last game when they beat the Patriots, who are a real shitty team this year, like we need to learn how to handle prosperity. Go fuck yourself, right? Like this is what. Then you go and get your ass handed to you by the Broncos. Yeah, where's your prosperity now, Rodgers? And then I love how afterward Salah blames like the cadence, and Rodgers looks visibly pissed that because like the inference is that he fucked up because he's the one calling the cadence or something. Yeah, I need something to happen there because my God, what a train wreck.
Such a brutal situation to see Brees and Braylon combine for less than eight
Mhm.
points when you have Chase Brown going off on the bench for 22.
And I started Chase Brown every other week but this one. This was the first, and that's why I'm not 2-2, and I'm gonna be maybe 0-4. Last week I lost because like I had started Justin Fields week 1 and 2. And then I decided to swap him out for Derek Carr week 3. The point difference between those two would have been enough to beat you last week. Nope. Go fuck yourself, Angus. Then we move on to this week where I've been starting Chase Brown this whole time. Like, all right, let's do Braylon Allen. Nope, that would have been enough to seal it. So it's my own fault. I'm here because of my own doing, which is great. It's a great.
14.1 from JSN though is possible.
It is
Good matchup,
possible.
definitely possible.
I'll be hoping for sure. Kyle Pitts, I guess we could talk about really quickly. I think I was just wrong on that. I don't think he's good at football, is what the conclusion I've come to is like if you can't beat Ray McLeod for targets and you can't like maybe he's just not that good. And maybe it's because his knee injury really hampered him.
He's
Maybe,
overrated for sure. He's
but
still
like
young,
he
but
can't
like
even
that can't be an excuse for why he hasn't worked out yet.
no, my thesis on this year was like the ceiling's clearly there, but I thought the floor would be like 4 for 40. Where he like is like
Yeah,
he can get something like that super easy.
that's like
And
Tyler
as a,
Conklin, you know?
yeah, as a tight end, you'll take that. As a
Right.
tight end, if the floor is 4 for 40, that's pretty good. And with the idea that there is also a ceiling.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any, like, I don't think this is his floor. He might not even get a target next week, especially after the fucking game. Raheem Morris is like, we don't care about stats when they point blank ask him, hey, are you going to get Kyle Pitts going? He's like, well, we don't care about stats. Like, clearly pissed at the question because they've asked him that question every week. Are you going to get Kyle Pitts going? And he could do one of two things to that. He could be like, fuck, let's drop 3 plays a game where Kyle Pitts is the first read and give him 30 yards and it'll shut these people up. Or I can go up there and be like, hey, stop asking me this question, which clearly means we have no plans of getting this guy targets at all. Like, oh my God. So bad. I don't think
Yeah.
he's droppable just because of what tight end is, because it's like really like Mike Gesicki, I picked up to start in a different league. He got me point 0.1 points. Point 0.1 better than Kyle Pitts. He's starting Pitts over Gesicki or Gesicki over Pitts. Wow, like real difference maker there.
No, tight end is dog shit. Like you could have started Andrews this week and gotten the same. So
So it's like, what are you really gonna do other than I guess like pick up Noah Gray now and hope that's honestly that was the thought I had this morning. Like, do I just pick up Noah Gray and hope that like he becomes something with like Rashee going down? Like, do you make that bet?
how
Which
sad.
which is such a sad place to be in. That really tells you where I'm at.
Well, at least you didn't
Um,
get the -2 points from Isaac Garendo.
I look, apparently CMC has Achilles tendonitis in both Achilles, so he's just an
Oh
insurance.
God, I didn't know it was both.
It's both.
Holy shit.
Not today, I think so.
Oh God, that's
And
terrible.
when it gets leaked that he's aiming for a November return, you're like, okay, that puts it at what, week 10 at the earliest?
I don't think it. I think they'll push it until like Christmas. Honestly, like
No, right. So me picking up Garenda, I'm like, well, he's one away.
yeah, that's it's not the
He's
worst bet, but you got to feel good about Jordan Addison even on the bench. Addison looks good.
Yeah, he got 4 targets, so I'm trying not to freak out about it too much.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
but
fair. But
still, he's a good football player and seemingly a great offense.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you got to
environment
take.
all worthwhile. We'll see about the suspension. He does have a court date over
Yeah.
the week 6 bye, but
So
that's in
we'll
the
see.
future. Let's ignore the pessimism for a while.
Yeah.
Um, so
But we'll keep trucking forward. Even if I go 0-4, it's a 14 game. It's hey, we just got to go on a winning
you
streak.
can still go 10-4. You can still go 10-4.
Still go 10-4.
But Raiders kind of showed up for you, and you still have a shot. Let's talk about your opponent, Johnny
Yep.
Football over there. Started Kyler. Kyler was a big disappointment. That was
I
weird.
needed that, man, because I immediately when I looked like going into the Baltimore game, I was favored like 60-40, something like that. And just immediately Derrick Henry gets that run.
I think you got spared because one more yard from Derrick Henry on the
Yes,
ground
no,
gave him the 200
yes,
yard bonus, and he didn't
yes,
get it. So you would need like an extra 3 points if Derrick
yep,
Henry had just one more yard.
yep, yep, yep,
So
yep.
that is
I
huge. I think that's
that was
probably going to decide this.
Yeah,
Like
I
like
would have been done if that was the case. But yeah, super happy Kyler was a letdown this week, although I think Kyler's pretty great for the rest of the season. So if I'm a Kyler owner, wouldn't be too bummed about
I think
that.
you got bailed out with Trey McBride missing the game. I think if McBride had suited up, Kyler would have at least put up
Yeah,
15 points.
and also like with how dominant Baltimore was, they very quickly abandoned the run. So like it wasn't a typical James Cook kind of game.
Yeah.
So I got like that was the only saving grace for me is that I was like, well, Henry's going off here, and they're just like not even running the ball on Buffalo's side. So Cook is just an afterthought now.
Yeah, broke even. Braylon Allen versus Cook. Rome being started does help you a lot. Keenan, once
Mhm.
Keenan is on the field, I don't think you can trust Rome anymore.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. Like,
And like, what's your take on Najee now? Because it's like this was as good as it was gonna get for Najee. Like with Jalen Warren hurt, it's like what are
yeah,
you
the
hoping
matchup was
for?
exciting here, and Cordero Patterson was actually starting to play very well before he got hurt. Najee
Yeah,
just saves you with like volume in the passing game. But
but barely. He gets you like 8 points. Like I don't know.
he's just not
like
scoring touchdowns. I think if you had gotten like 2 touchdowns from Najee through the first 4 weeks, you'd feel comfortable. But he has not found the end zone once. And at some point, Warren will get healthy. I don't know about Cordy P, but no, I'd be worried about Najee. I almost tried to trade for him, but I ignored it. I was like, I'm not going to offer enough. Like with the Jalen Warren situation, I'm sure the price will be higher on Najee. But
yeah,
no, you can't feel great about it. It's like there's just never any touchdowns. So you're never going to get 100 yards rushing from Najee unless it's
yeah,
like the best matchup ever. And this one was a good matchup. The Colts were not
right.
good at stopping the run. Just ask Fields. He went off. But
And
Najee,
they weren't like super like they were down, but they weren't like super down. So
no,
like they
they
still
almost
ran.
came back.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're pessimistic about Najee, for sure. Juwan Jennings, I think you'd rather start Juwan right now than Ayuk.
Hmm.
You got to
Yeah.
feel somewhat, at least they have like the same value. I don't think it's like overwhelmingly in favor of either person, and you would have expected it to be Ayuk just a week
For
ago.
sure. I think Debo, like he has Debo on his bench. I think going forward, Debo will be better.
Yeah, I
Like
think Debo's the guy you want the most.
for sure. Like he'll be fine, and I would start him going forward pretty confidently.
He did bench Walker and Jalen Waddle,
Yeah.
and I feel like the only big question I have for Johnny Football, who maybe listening, trusting Rome in this spot, I think was a
Mhm.
very bold call.
Yeah.
Debo, when
I
you
would have
have
done
Debo,
Debo. Oh
yeah,
my God. Like even if you like Jawan, I would have been like, all right, well, I you can't sit Debo. Like
yeah,
yeah, he didn't do he didn't do great, but like he still got you 8 points.
yeah, very interesting call there. It was a good matchup for Rome, but with Keenan there,
Mhm.
went with the boom bust strategy and it busted. So,
Yeah.
good luck to Johnny Football. You need less than 14 from Angus to win, and good luck to you, Angus.
I'm
Uh,
so sick by this season.
watch you win tonight, and then like 5 hours from now, you'll be ecstatic.
All right, let's move on now.
Okay, we'll talk about River Rat, who uh, is going to fall to 0-4 against Salisbury Suicide. Both of these teams were desperate for a win, and it's a two
Come
point.
on down. The water's fine down here. Come
It's a
on.
2 point victory for
I'm
Eduardo
getting in that.
Caroccio.
I'm getting in that river with you, man. Don't worry about it.
We'll talk about the winner here first. Eduardo rolling with Jaden
Mhm.
Daniels. Like,
God,
damn.
he looks good. He does look very good. I think all the concerns are still there with Jaden Daniels that yeah, he could get hurt, but man, like he looks great. He really, really does.
I think a big like question if he continues this, and he's gonna beat the Browns next week, so I think it will be a very legit question moving forward. How dumb are the Bears to not only pass on Kingsbury for Waldron, but
Yeah,
not do that when you know you're bringing in Caleb and
yeah,
Kingsbury just coached Caleb in college. Like, I'm
100%.
not ready to say that you should have drafted Jaden Daniels over Caleb Williams. They both won a Heisman, and I
Yeah,
think based on like everything surrounding Caleb, I still think that was the right decision. And it
yes.
would have been very, very difficult to like go against the grain and actually pivot to Jaden Daniels. But to not get Kingsbury when reports like from Peter Schrager I heard today were that they interviewed Kingsbury and then were very quickly like nah, we're good. We're not going in that direction. Like, so
Yeah,
such a bad call, man. Like
yeah,
the Bears blowing it at OC, not setting up Caleb in the right spot. And now Jaden looks fantastic, and he's really reaping all the
yeah.
rewards of
So
how that
next
worked
year
out.
though, like when the Bears are getting fired, like for sure. I don't know if Eberflus is keeping his job, especially if they underperform. Like that's the next step here. Is they're like, well, we're riding with Caleb for the next few years, so
Yeah,
all you guys have to go. This is abysmal for sure. But good for Jaden Daniels, man. Like really good job.
he looks great, and I think they could win the division.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys look super suspect. The Eagles look super suspect.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the Giants look
Better, but they're
better
not
than I
winning it.
thought, but they're still not winning it. So, yeah, just like I think the Commanders for sure have a way better shot of winning the division than they did in the preseason. Their defense is still pretty bad. So, you're then relying on Jaden to put up just insane offensive numbers to keep them in the game. And that might not be a super sustainable model.
Well, their defense did play better. Like they held Arizona to 14, albeit without McBride. They were also on the road. But I do trust Dan Quinn's like coaching to get them better every week. Like I think they may have plateaued in terms of how bad they're gonna be. Unless there's a bunch of injuries, they might not be dog shit on defense. But I think on offense, like they're not even punting. You know,
Yeah.
like that's what's so impressive about it. He just keeps sustaining drives to at least kick field
Mhm.
goals, if not score touchdowns. And I was worried about his passing a little bit the first few
Mhm.
weeks. He just was never uncorking it down the field. But now that's unlocked, and Terry looks really good. Like I think the Commanders are legit. I think they could be a
Yep,
playoff team.
for sure. No, they're looking super good.
And I think they'll do it winning the division. I think it's more likely they make the playoffs with home field advantage than make like the wild card.
Hmm.
But yeah, good for Washington.
Hmm.
Josh Jacobs still no touchdowns from Josh
Yeah,
Jacobs.
and it's crazy because like the Packers scored so many points this week. Like, yeah, he has Jordan Love and Jaden Reed on his bench. That's unfortunate, but
Oh, is that what happened in here? Oh
yeah,
yeah.
like, he's got both of them on his bench.
I don't blame him for benching Love for Jaden Daniels, but benching Reed once you know Jordan Love is playing, a little
That
blasphemous.
Yeah, for sure. Especially like I get McLaurin had a long touchdown catch the last game, and he did fine this game, but like I would 100% put
Reed over London, I think it was definitely.
yeah, like at a minimum, I think McLaurin or London I would put Reed ahead of. Probably not Marvin Harrison, but
Honestly, I think Jaden Reed, if Love is healthy with Christian Watson going down, is on the same level, if not higher, than Marvin Harrison. Reed
yeah,
is so explosive.
he's really good. Like and with Love in the game, like you just can't sit him. Like
No,
he's got to be in there for
Reed
sure.
is arguably top 10 rest of the season. Must start no matter what. But he
For
does
sure.
get this victory narrowly, just by 2 points, because
Yep,
defense.
man.
Defense decided he went with the Texans for 1 point,
I
but the
know.
opponent
My
went with the
God,
Bills
the
negative one and
Bills.
a half.
Ah,
Brutal.
wild, wild turn of events for sure. Yeah, that's got oh fuck, I didn't even see that. That sucks. And
That's
he got zero from his did he get zero from his kicker?
yep. 0 from the kicker, 1 from the defense, and wins.
How does that even happen? They
Ooh.
just keep going for two? Like what even?
Well, Quentin Johnston. No,
Oh
the Packers kicker missed 2 field goals.
man. Oh, that's okay.
Missed 2 field goals, and
Wow.
there. I put missed field goals as negative 1.5, not negative one. I did a few like
Yeah.
really just like minor ticky tack things with like
And
kickers
that's
and
it.
defenses, but yeah, that was one of them.
Wow. Yeah, that sucks. Real rough stuff.
But
You got to
honestly,
be excited if Richardson's out, Michael Pittman becomes super interesting.
oh yeah, with Flacco, Pittman is like a huge asset. I think he'd moved up like top 15 with Flacco, because that's what he was with Minshew last year.
Hmm.
And you just need those short checkdowns to hit. he can give you the yak. Pittman is a good athlete. So if I was Salisbury Suicide, I'd be like so happy I barely made it out with this win, but I wouldn't
Yeah,
feel like super confident about tight end. Like
yeah, for
tight end is
sure.
rough on this team, but with Jaden Reed coming in, Pittman coming in, you can make some trades, you can make things happen. Um,
Honestly, I'd try to sell a quarterback. Like you have two very good quarterbacks, and like you can only start one of them. You know what I mean?
yeah, if
I get the art. Like otherwise, it's just 1 week for the bye.
the
Which
problem
yeah,
is it's just hard to get like good value when you trade quarterbacks unless you're getting a quarterback in return because
no, that's true.
people don't like to give up depth at running back. So
Yeah,
we'll
that's
see,
fair.
but if he can get some touchdowns out of Josh Jacobs, he is rolling. But
Yeah,
on the other side, the losing side, unfortunately, obviously starting Quentin Johnston is a big disappointment. I don't think you were ever considering going with Justice Hill though.
for sure. I guess, and like even Kareem Hunt, you had no idea that he was gonna
No, too
get in
soon to
there.
trust Kareem Hunt.
Okay,
But
with Kareem Hunt, what the fuck is Dallas doing? Like,
by
you know what I
not
mean?
bringing
Like,
him in,
not bringing him in, he looks decent. Like all these teams that have bad running games, where it's like, really, you didn't get you brought Dalvin Cook and put him on your practice squad. Like you didn't call this guy.
well, here's the thing. Like
He looked good. Like he looked really good.
I think they probably considered it. They may have tried, but personally, I think when you get into these like veteran running back situations, I think they understand that like they kind of hold all the cards and they know how the position is where like they can wait until the season starts. They don't want to be practicing in the off season and they can find the spot to go to that's going to be ideal
Yeah,
for them. And especially with Kareem Hunt, I think a reunion with Kansas City is clearly like the ideal spot. So like he knows the Browns, he knows the Chiefs, and I
yeah,
think maybe his agent was like the Chiefs could open up and it
yeah.
did. Whereas like the opportunity to go to Dallas isn't like that enticing. They probably didn't want to pay him very much, but no, the Cowboys should have probably brought in Kareem Hunt.
Like my God. Anywho,
He
just
big bummer though was probably AJ Brown not playing. Like if AJ Brown had started, he definitely would have put him in over Quentin Johnston,
for
and
sure,
he would have won. So
for
bummer
sure.
for Jason. Starts 0-4, and Bijan, no touchdown from Bijan.
So we agree Bijan's not a round one pick,
No,
right?
no.
Like
You know what was crazy about
we can
Bijan?
stop that now. Like that 2 years of like Bijan being a round one pick. That's just we're not gonna do that again. Like
Entering this week, I actually was going to rank Bijan at number 12. I was like, I'm worried about this game and I don't feel good about it. And I was like, Bijan hasn't looked good. And for like from a points per game standpoint, he's not been
yeah,
top 10. So I actually ranked him at 12 entering the week. And then
good.
right before I recorded, I looked into his stats against Atlanta and it was like, oh shit, he dominates against the Saints. He
Mhm.
dominates this matchup. He has 3 touchdowns in 2 games last year with like 130 yards per game. Like, no, I have to put him back in the top 5. Like this is the game. And no, he totally burns you. Like only in the passing game is he offering like some type of floor, but 28 yards rushing,
Yeah,
no touchdown. Fuck, you got to be really disappointed with Bijan right now.
for sure. Like he just can't be a top five running back anymore in rankings. He's clearly not a round one pick. And it sucks. Like I thought the sky's the limit for this guy. And I remember in a snake draft I did, I really took the entire like minute just between him and CeeDee Lamb. I went with Lamb because I was like, all right, I'll get Achane in round two. But I was like, man, I believed the upside case for Bijan. Like I thought there's a strong chance he's the 101 next year. And nope, like it's just not happening.
Yeah, their offense isn't like the key to them winning.
Yeah.
It's like we can get close wins with less than 20 points sometimes, and we'll just barely squeak by. Young Hui
Mm.
Koo wins it as time
Yeah.
expires. But Brock Bowers kind of disappointing again. You thought he'd be
Yeah,
really good with no Adams though, you know?
for sure. I still think he's a top three tight end for sure. Like
I
I've
would
seen.
say he's in the top 5. I think him and Ferguson is a legit conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Like it could easily shape out a bunch of different ways for sure. But like look, you have Bowers, you're starting him every week.
Yeah.
I guess
No,
he's
he's one of the 7 you feel good about,
yeah.
and maybe Kincaid and Laporta will
Yeah,
overtake him soon. But at the moment, you're more confident in Bowers than a lot of the tight ends that went at the
yeah,
top. So not going to panic, but disappointing for sure. Without Adams, you'd expect like 10 plus
yeah,
targets.
for sure. Good calls on Bucky and Wandale. Like those
Yeah,
are pretty solid starts. They overperformed.
very legit.
Real good people to have. Mahomes, man, is he even like a top 10 quarterback for
No,
you? I
no,
don't think he is.
no, especially with Rice going down.
With Rice going, like, I don't know. Like, I really don't think he is. I have him in a league, and I had to sit there and kind of stare at that and be like, I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback. Like,
No.
I could probably find somebody I'd rather start over him. That's just where we're fucking at.
I would have ranked him below Justin Fields last week if he wasn't facing the Chargers and he didn't have like a really good track record against them. But
Yep.
like this week was very much like a prove it spot for like where I'm going to rank him moving forward because he's been really bad, not just this year, but last year he was not
Yeah.
top 10 in fantasy either. And he just doesn't have the weapons and they win with defense. So
Yeah.
he
They
has
win
too
with
many
defense. He
mistakes.
doesn't run in the regular season anymore.
No,
He
occasionally you
runs,
get a scramble, but it's never like an 80-plus yard game on the ground from him.
no, in the playoffs he runs because he's like, cool, I'll bust out that weapon when I need to, but
Yeah, I'll
otherwise,
have the off season to recover.
yeah. So yeah, you got like really sucks. Like sucks with Mahomes. Chase is great. Like I still think Chase is elite. I'd still take him in the first round.
Yeah. I
It's been a rough go of it for sure.
I think it's kind of shocking that he's 0-3. Like Riverrat's team is good with AJ Brown healthy, but obviously that's the reason why he doesn't have a win at the moment.
See, it's not for me because like Chase has struggled so much so far. Mahomes, I know has struggled. So
Fair.
like knowing how the season has played out for sure, you're like, yeah,
Yeah, but
for
hasn't
sure.
he just missed 3 games from AJ Brown?
Yeah, that's it. He's missed the AJ Brown doesn't help, but like I'm just saying Chase has for the most part really underperformed, and same with Mahomes, and those are and Bijan. Like those are just three players where in the pre-draft we're thinking these are elite players, and they
Yeah,
just
that's fair.
haven't been playing like it.
Well, tough loss,
Real.
Riverrat. Good.
Welcome to the bottom, man. Glad to have you. Get in the
Well,
river with
you
me and
two have been
Huron.
chilling out for a while, so
No, us three have been chilling out. Like we're just at the bottom, having a great little time.
hey, I am not 0-3, man. I am 2-1.
Oh no, me, excuse me, me, Huron, River Rat, and then the other guy.
Oh, and Salisbury.
No, there's another oh and three
We'll get
team.
to him. We'll find
No,
him.
we just talked about him. Shit, I forget who. It had to be like
Oh, Pasture Interferents. My
Pasture
my opponent.
Interferents.
Yeah.
Us three are at the bottom, and it's great.
And and you might be 0-4 together. We'll see.
That's what I mean. We're having our own little league. It's golf rules.
Yeah,
The score wins.
consolation prize for all these birdies you're just racking up. Okay,
Man.
moving on. We're gonna try and do these next three in 10 minutes apiece, but let's pivot to Nacua Matata. Looks like very close matchup against Gogo Bongzilla. Matata is done. They have 112 points, and they
Yeah.
went with Gesicki, who gave him negative.
God,
Bad.
Neighbors has been carrying him. My
Malik
God,
Neighbors, yeah.
like to lose Puka so early in a 12-team league, and then Devonta Smith, same thing.
His
Like,
bench is decimated. He has Mixon, Evan
yeah,
Ingram, Devontae Smith, Austin Eckler all out on the bench with Puka Nacua on IR.
like
So
good for you, man. Good for you, Matt. Like, way to go.
3 and
Like,
0, now going to be 3 and 1 most likely, but it's possible he goes 4 and 0. Really
yeah,
impressive.
really impressive stuff right
And
there.
running
Yeah,
back is not doing jack shit. Like he's got Zach
no,
Moss and
really. Like,
Samaje Perine.
I'm looking at this team and I'm like, what the, like, how is this happening? It's just Malik Neighbors is that good at football, and
Diggs
Diggs,
has stepped
really,
up. Tutu
yeah,
Atwell, shocking games from him. And then he's got Brandon Aubrey to cushion any mistakes.
yeah, for sure.
Stroud went off with 345. The
Well,
Stroud Diggs
God.
stack is pretty solid.
This is a wild team to be maybe 4-0.
Yeah.
Like, you look at that and you're just like, what? Like, good for him. Like, I'm not trying to take anything away
No,
from
I'm
him.
I'm
But,
sure
like,
he is very much aware that he is like defying the odds with this roster right now.
wild that this, yeah, good for you, man. Like,
But he could lose. He's up by 8 points and he's
yeah,
facing off against Tyreek Hill. I think he loses. I think he's gonna lose.
Yeah, I think he's gonna lose too. He's gonna lose more times than he wins for sure.
You face off against Brian Robinson, Mike Evans, Kyron Williams, Brock Purdy, and get 11 from the kicker.
Yeah,
I think he loses to Tyreek Hill,
yeah,
but
I think so too.
deserves a round of applause for
My
making
God,
it this
man,
far.
really good.
Um, yeah, just a decimated team. And did he have lineup Nirvana this week? No, he almost had lineup Nirvana if he went with Roshan over
Yeah,
Samaje, but
yeah,
you know, kudos, it worked out. Got a touchdown from Samaje.
yeah. Good job.
When it
That was a bullshit touchdown. You got
very bullshit.
I
That's like Cam Akers
was
last
watching
week.
that. I saw that live and I was like, man, that sucks. But all right.
But Gogo Bongzilla probably going to make it to 500. They're 1-2 right now, but I think they win with Tyreek Hill and good games from Purdy. I mean, could have been a little bit better, but 17 points is very solid.
Yeah,
Kyron still a workhorse with a
yeah,
touchdown. Devin Singletary, big letdown. I thought he would play a lot better in a good
yeah, for
matchup,
sure.
but maybe the
Uh,
Cowboys are not actually a good matchup. Maybe it was just Kamara and Henry
yeah,
after all. Mike Evans gets back in the end zone. That's good to see
mhm,
for him.
that'll do it for you.
Kincaid showing up 5 for 47.
Mhm.
That's the floor you need, to feel good.
You're taking that every day of the week for sure.
Yeah. Brian Robinson, fantastic game as expected.
Fantastic pick too. Like I know, like there was so much quibble with him in the preseason, and he's turning out to just be an absolute smash.
And I remember we were kind of criticizing Gogo Bongzilla for like overspending on B Rob. He put like $17 in the bid,
Yep. No,
and we
worth every
thought it was
penny.
like too expensive. But if Eckler stays out for a while, like B Rob's top 15.
Yeah.
B
Oh,
Rob
easy.
could be top 10.
Yeah. He with the work he's getting and as good as the offense is being, for sure.
Okay, here's a good question. If you knew that Eckler would be out for, let's say, 6 weeks,
Hmm.
maybe 2 months, well, it's 6 to 8 weeks. Let's say Eckler is in the Pacheco category.
Yeah.
Would you rather have Brian Robinson Jr. or Bijan Robinson straight up?
I don't know if I'm there yet, but I get it. Like
It's a legit question,
I
right?
don't think I'm there yet. Uh,
I think I'd still go Bijan.
I think I'd still go Bijan too, but I get it. Like I really do. Like if
Now,
someone did that, I would be like, all right, I you could totally be the winning side here.
well, what if Eckler was just out for the full season? Would that sway you at all for Brian Robinson? I think it might, man.
Yeah, that's pretty
It's
good.
such
Like
a better offense.
Algier is also just getting like work, like he's doing well with it. So like yeah, probably just to take like because you're not like unless Brian Robinson gets hurt, you're not getting a bad
No,
thing. It's a question of like do you hit this upside case? So yeah, I'd probably take it.
he had 21 carries, 3 catches, and he has 3 touchdowns on the season. I
Yeah.
think I think they're in the same tier. I think you can go with either one, but
Yeah.
like until Eckler comes back, you can't really fault anyone for preferring Brian over
Yeah.
Bijan in the short term. I think Eckler's injury is the only reason why you're like, nah, I'll stick with Bijan. Wow, that's a big bummer for
And
anyone who has Bijan. If
I know.
that actually turns out to be like the better side, if Brian is better than Bijan,
I could see it happening and that's bad enough.
fuck. Okay,
Uh,
so that's weird. But on his bench, he
even,
had a
yeah.
lot of players go off. He had Jerome Ford play decent with 12 points. Christian Kirk looks back, at least for
Yeah, for
fantasy.
sure. I still think that like the offense seems atrocious. So I'm a
Yeah,
bit nervous. Like are you confidently starting him? Really? I don't know. I'd kind of want to
I think until Evan Ingram gets healthy, I still trust the volume for Kirk, but I definitely prefer Brian Thomas.
yeah. No, I get that. I'm just nervous this is an absolute like bottom offense and then you're like what are we getting here? But
But
Sutton had like what was he had like 50 of like the 60 receiving yards in
no,
this
he had
game.
all 60.
But all 60,
He had all
that's right.
60.
I knew it was something insane like that, which good God.
For them to
Like
win with 60 yards passing is like such a confidence boost.
oh God, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Like amazing. Just absolutely amazing. Back
Fantastic.
to the Jets. What I hate about the Jets so much is like they were just, oh, our defense. We have like an elite defense. Go to fucking hell. No, you don't. You maybe had one last year. This year you look awful. So then what's the point? What is the point of any of this if it's like, oh, we just need a quarterback? No, you turns out you need like a ton of different things to actually be a good team. And you don't have as good a defense. You have no pass. You have no run blocking at all. What the fuck is going on? Anywho, like all this talk of oh we're an elite defense, and then just get
Salah probably gets fired.
he should like what the fuck? He absolutely should get fired.
Do you
Like
think
what are
Rodgers plays one more year, or do you think he retires?
if they miss the playoffs? I have no idea. Like
I
if they
I could
yeah
see him demanding a trade.
yeah I would say go to Minnesota just like Favre, but Darnold's doing well.
No, I don't think there's room for that anymore. But yeah, I thought he should have done that. Who could really use him? Like, I what if he goes to Vegas?
Yeah.
You know, like what if he gets traded or like just demands force or like if I was him, I would try to force a trade to like Seattle. Like
Yeah,
that would
but
be
but
the spot.
But Gino's doing well though, is the
Yeah, I
thing.
don't think they're gonna move
Like
up
that's the
Gino.
problem. If I'm Seattle, I'm like, I think we're good. Like you kind of need a like the Jets were desperate.
No,
You need to be desperate to take him.
you would need a desperate organization like the Jets to
Yeah,
do it, and
but
that's
but
why the
we are
Raiders are probably the biggest
yeah,
candidate if he does leave. But we'll see. Maybe he
yeah,
doesn't. If they retain Adams, I think it's in the cards.
yeah, for
Like
sure.
people were talking about Adams to the Jets. I think Rodgers to the Raiders
That makes
is
a lot more sense.
possible, but only if they suck.
Yeah,
That's down the road.
yeah.
Baker still still a legit fantasy
Killing
play,
it.
man.
Absolutely killing it. Yeah, he again, I'm so grateful I took him in best ball. Like my God, that is just the only thing keeping me from like completely losing my mind on this season is that I have a fair amount of him in best ball. Oh my God. Good for him though. That's
Yeah,
one thing I'm happy for him.
no, it's easy to root for him after what he went through in Cleveland.
Yeah. And then in Carolina.
And yeah, all the path he had to take to get to where he is,
Yeah.
easy to root for Baker.
Pisses
So
me off, but I took DJ Moore all those years ago when he went to Carolina because apparently he can get the ball to a number one wide receiver. He just didn't want to, or whatever it turned out to be.
you
But
know, it's
yeah,
the Panthers, man. The Panthers are the problem.
we're
But
here now. That's what's important.
all right, well, we expect a win from Jason if he gets 8.1 or no, just exactly 8 points. Anything over
Mhm.
8 points from
Yeah.
Tyreek Hill gives Gogo Bongzilla the win. So good luck, Jason. And now let's move over to Sun God Squad versus Goat Mode. And Sun God Squad, I don't think has like that good of a chance. He's down 54.
We've got a lot. Yeah.
He does have four players. It's like if you get 25 from St. Brown,
Yeah.
it's possible, but like I think you could get a true bagel from either Ridley or Hopkins, and that's where I'm like, nah, I don't think so.
Problem is he's starting both of them.
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, man.
He could still pivot to Lockett, Charbonnet, or
Yeah,
obviously with Walker starting, you're not going to put Charbonnet in. Would you go Lockett over Hopkins or Ridley?
I might do it over Hopkins.
I like the matchup a little better. Yeah, I think I'd probably do it as well.
Yeah, I because they're gonna have to throw. The problem with doing both is you're like you need to almost make a bet on like who's gonna get. You need like the ceiling game from one that kind of eats at the others
Yeah, that's the
amount.
problem. Like when you start both, you at least have the floor of like I at least get the better one.
But
But
like you're down so much that it's like you kind of need the ceiling game to
yeah,
happen.
where even if you pick wrong, you could still lose, and it's kind of a wash
Right.
to risk
Because
it.
it's like, oh, Ridley got two touchdowns, but Hopkins got like two catches for 15 yards. So who gives a shit?
I I think his strategy is interesting. It's the safer one. I think
Yeah.
he's probably just down enough where I might pivot and agree with you. Where yeah, I take the riskier bet of being wrong about the Texans receiver popping off and just hope that Lockett has a good game
You need a pick six for the Miami D. That'll help. You need
Miami
something like
defense
that.
could really, really help him against Will
Yeah,
Levis,
against Will Levis, you need turnovers and maybe a pick six, and that really help like gets you like an extra flex play.
but it would really help if Andrews wasn't so bad.
My God, like I thought I was always McBride over Andrews, but I thought he was in that like top five locked
Same,
in
yeah.
conversation.
What's even scarier is that they just won this game with 35 points. Like you score 5 touchdowns and you don't use Andrews at all. He had one target, no catches. That's that's really scary. I think Andrews is a legit like drop candidate.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just I guess I'd keep him,
I think you
but
have to, but
if you have to, I really don't know. Like, what are you like, man? Like, he could have a great second half is the problem.
you could talk me into Brenton Strange over Mark
Yeah,
Andrews while Ingram's out.
yeah. No, I
So,
get it. I fucking get it. Like, it's a rough spot for sure.
but
Um,
ETN, you got to be terrified with ETN as Bigsby goes off again.
yeah, and like, cause like, did he come back? Like, there was like a thing that said ETN got is out with a shoulder injury. Like,
Well,
I got that sleeper
I think he
notification.
came back. At the moment, there's no injury designation for him,
Then
so
okay, I guess he
I
came
think he's
back.
okay. But
But yeah, Bigsby looks good, and that's not great. And then on top of that, the offense just looks like ass. So you're like, all right, we're not going to have the scoring opportunities, and I'm splitting. So not
yeah,
fun for sure. I mean, I'm rooting for you. I love an underdog story here. Good. Taylor's doing well for you, and Burrow's finally getting in gear, so that's solid.
Taylor did get hurt. We'll see if he plays, but I think he'll be okay. It sounds not too concerning.
Hmm.
But there was no one on his bench that could have really helped him. Like 8 from Lazard, no. Thielen on IR, kind of a bummer because he could have gotten going with Dalton, but
Yeah,
that's not going to happen. Meanwhile, his opponent had some solid games, like overall pretty good games, except for like Zay Flowers.
yeah,
Flowers did not show up at all. Like
no.
maybe that's one reason, like not to worry about Andrews. Like if Flowers didn't do shit either, like it was all Henry for the most part. But
Mhm.
not I still trust Flowers. I don't
Yeah,
trust Andrews. Pickens had a good game, over 100 yards from Pickens. We thought he would
yeah,
play well. Aaron
yeah.
Jones, pretty solid.
Aaron Jones has been doing so well.
Yeah,
Like
he didn't
really,
even score a touchdown
and
this game.
like he's doing well. I guess the my comment on Jones though is like the thesis still stands that like he's had a bunch of health issues in his career, so it's like is he gonna hold up? But in the meantime, ride it out. Like might as well.
Yeah, I'd really like to have Chandler on the bench if on any team I have Aaron Jones.
100%. Yeah,
But
just make sure you got that locked in.
Saquon still with 12 points without a touchdown. Like
Yeah,
Saquon's a top 5 running back. You feel really good about him. Kelsey finally shows up, but this is the matchup where you expect him to. Like if
yeah,
Rashee Rice doesn't go down and like let's say he has like 5 for 50 in this game.
yeah.
How terrified are you with Kelsey moving forward?
Well, so here's the like I saw a bunch of people being like, "Oh my God, this will unlock Travis Kelce and it's going to be Xavier Worthy time." And I'm like, "No, what's going to happen now is they're just going to double team Kelce every time, which they already were doing and shutting him down, and then they could even double team Worthy if they really want to, and be like, "All right, Justin Watson or whoever the fuck is the other guy, and good, okay, Sky Moore, go beat us." Like it's
Yeah.
gonna get it's going to get so bad. Like, I don't know. I think it'll just get bad where it's like, I don't think, oh, now Kelsey's going to get this elite target share. He wasn't getting, like, he was getting double teamed and wasn't getting open. And then they aren't having Worthy run a full route tree. Yeah, he caught that bomb. But like, I think they could just be bad. Like, they could just have like a bad offense. And then if they win, it's because they scored 10 points and the opponent scored seven.
I'd be really worried about him. We mentioned this last week. Would you rather have Pitts or Kelsey long term? I still think you'd rather have Kelsey, just
I'd
because
rather,
you're so terrified with Pitts. Not because you're like really excited with Kelsey, but
yeah,
at least he's the clear number one target now
yeah.
for whatever that's worth. He'll be okay, but yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be ranking him top 5.
No, it could just be a bad offense for
No,
sure.
I'm worried about Kelsey for sure. James Conner, though, great game from Conner,
Solid. Yeah,
as
really, really solid
expected.
stuff.
Browns
Uh,
defense shows up even in a loss.
mhm.
Good for fantasy. They did have a touchdown, though. They did
Yeah.
have a defensive score, so maybe not insanely good. For them to only put up 9 points on
Yeah.
offense against the
Wild.
Raiders, like,
Absolutely wild.
they're so bad.
Deshaun Watson's just bad at football. I don't even like they're gonna have to do a study on what happened there. Like how he went from literally being a leader at the position to I'm now bad at football and I can't read a
Well, I
defense. And
think
I
it's pretty obvious what happens. He got blacklisted from all the massage parlors, and now
stressed.
his body doesn't
Yeah,
recover. Like
stressed.
they
Yeah.
were so important to
My
his
God.
week long prep for the next game. That's the problem, man.
God, I remember it was like right after he got like the deal from the Browns or whatever, and he's still under like sexual assault investigation. He posts like an Instagram video of him hanging with Mia Khalifa at his house, and all the comments are like, "God, this guy is horny." Like, my God, like, dude, you're being investigated for sexual assault, and then immediately that's what you post.
Well, he's got a reputation to uphold in the Cosby household,
Right.
and
And
he's just living. He's trying to max out the most of
yeah,
whatever glory time he has left. It's a very short leash, and he
yeah.
probably gets fired very soon.
Oh
But
yeah.
he's going out with as much excitement as possible. But maybe the massage parlors should welcome him back in,
I know.
and that
We can't
way,
get him going.
I feel like that's a very easy way to make like 3 mil from a masseuse. You
Oh,
know,
good God, yeah, for
you're
sure.
gonna get
Like
a settlement
you're
if you
pretty.
let him schedule an appointment. But
Yeah.
good for goat mode. Likely getting the win. We think he'll get the win.
I think so. Looking at his bench, I mean, sucks about Devontae with the hamstring injury.
Yeah, not great.
And like they ruled him out immediately, so you're hoping that that's not a long-term thing. Jalen Warren will eventually come back.
Swift went
Swift,
off.
Swift went off.
I wouldn't trust him.
I'm not sure if I believe it.
No,
Like I saw a bunch of people being like, "Oh wow, lineup lock now." I'm like, really?
no.
He was asked for like 3 weeks. You think all of a sudden now he's just like great and fine?
Very concerned with that whole situation long term. But Keenan can't start him. Carson Steele cut candidate as
I think he's
maybe CH
droppable.
comes back.
I think he's droppable. Like he fumbled right away,
Yeah,
and my guess is they are just like, all right, Kareem Hunt and Samaji. Like this, like Carson Steele was fun, but like no,
no,
it's this for sure.
definitely lost his job. And then
Yeah,
Amari Cooper on the bench, solid option to have, but may not crack
yeah,
the lineup for a while given the options he has.
yeah.
So good for goat mode. Might go 4-0, probably goes 4-0
I
after
would agree.
tonight. But
Mm-hmm.
good luck to Sun God Squad. Maybe it does work out. And then
I'm rooting for you.
one more matchup: Fight Me versus Hawk Moon. Both
Yeah,
2-1 entering the week, and it looks like Hawk will win, despite only 7.6 from Josh Allen. Is in the lead. Niners defense, big reason why.
and
Niners
that
with a
zero from Rashi is on the other side.
oh yeah, I'm
That'll do
noticing
it.
that now. Fuck, Fight Me's got to be pissed.
Gotta be pissed. Like God, if he didn't have Jordan Mason. Holy shit, that would be such a bad spot. Like he's gonna put Tank Dell in, I guess, if he's healthy. But
He
man,
does have Xavier Worthy. Some silver
yeah,
lining.
yeah, we'll see.
Well, because
But I think,
Worthy's now going to see like the 6+ targets we were expecting, and one of them is going to be that deep bomb every week. Like Worthy at least has a ceiling.
yeah,
Not much of a floor, but it's
I don't
something.
know if I don't know if he does because like again, my thinking is like the way the season was going, like I felt eventually teams were going to focus it on Kelsey and Rice, which left Worthy free.
That's a good point.
Now it's like, cool. We don't have to like we put two people on Kelsey. He's old and can't beat us, and now we can just keep an eye on Worthy. Like if that's and then again make them beat you with like these other like Sky Moore and these other and fucking what's his name Juju. Like go beat us with them.
Yeah.
We'll figure you like. It seems like it'll just be. It's not like oh here comes Worthy with the Rashee Rice target share. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. I think it's just worse.
Yeah, it he just has that touchdown ability from anywhere though. That's where
That's true.
like if you get 12 points on a single play, you kind of don't
Yeah.
really care. But no, big disappointment to move from Rashee to Worthy without Rashee on the field as well. Not ideal, but that's kind of the main reason he's losing here. Like
Yeah.
if he got the anticipated 17 plus points from Rice, this would be
Yep.
a very legit game, but probably not going to happen. We've got A Chain versus Tyjae Spears in the Titans defense tonight with a 18-point margin in
Yeah.
favor of the A Chain side. So I doubt that Fight Me gets the win, but it is
Hmm.
possible. Very unlikely though.
Yeah. Deontay Johnson coming alive as like a guaranteed top 15 rest of the way, if not better.
Yeah, with Thielen injured, you have to start Deontay every week. It's just like
Yeah.
so locked in. DJ Moore worries me, man. Like
Hmm.
I just don't know what I'm getting, and he looks kind of fed up with like his connection. And if Keenan
Yep.
Allen's healthy, it just kind of ruins the whole pot. I'd be worried about DJ Moore as someone who has him in a different league. Not too encouraging, but Ramondre was a little bit better despite fumbling. He at least didn't
Yep.
put up 0.3.
For sure.
But Goddard showed up 7 for 62. He also has Lamar on the bench, Rashad White on the bench, Coleman starting to step up. Lad McConkey had a good game.
Yeah. You love to see that for sure.
Very happy with that. And then on the other side, Mason blew up. Mason had a great game.
Hmm.
Lamb almost hit the 100-yard bonus, but
Insane that he had it for like in the
oh
first half,
yeah, he had it and
he
then he
had
didn't.
90 something. And you're like, well, that's a lock. Maybe he hits 200. That's what I thought going into the half. Like, oh, he might get 200 on the day.
Nope,
No.
nope, not this week. But Jacoby, decent
Yeah.
game. George Kittle
Decent
with a
thing.
touchdown.
Yep.
Solid performances all around. But
Kittle's good at football.
I do think Fight Me still has a pretty good roster. Like his RB2 is really shaky, but even without Rice, I think he has a decent shot to win. It's definitely not as safe without
Oh,
Rashee
for
Rice.
sure. Yeah. Like, well, it's a long season though. Like it really is. You got 2 wins already. Must be nice.
Yeah, you can't
So
say that.
no, I would much rather have 2 wins right now.
No, I'm expecting to lose tonight. I think I'll lose, but I still feel really good because I have 2 wins and I lost Pacheco. I'm gonna get Jonathan Brooks back hopefully next week, and to
Yeah.
make it out of this stretch with the injuries I've had, 2-2, I'm very
Yep.
very happy. I could easily be like 1-3.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, good luck to you. And then, like hopefully Tank. I'm a Tank Dell believer. I think he'll get going. He is very good at football.
It just
So
depends on when he gets healthy. But
yeah.
yeah. Just before we go, I'll bring up some like unrostered, like highly perform, like some players that played really well that we just didn't get to because they're not on the rosters.
Hmm.
Dontavian Wicks had a good game here with Christian Watson banged up for at least a week. I think Wicks has some appeal, but I'd rather go with Romeo Dobbs if
Yep.
I'm starting someone other than Jaden Reed. Um, have no concern with Jeremy McNichols, but you know who I really like with Flacco at quarterback is
Josh
Josh
Downs.
Downs.
Yeah. No, for real. Like he's very viable if Flacco's gonna play.
For sure. I also think Leggett is really interesting while Thielen is banged
Mhm.
up. That's interesting.
For sure. Yeah, I think they're pretty solid. Um,
Flacco, I think, is a top 20 quarterback if he's active.
yeah, if I'm a James Cook owner, I wouldn't think about the Ty Johnson touchdown all that much. Like
No, that's just something that pisses off everyone because no one in fantasy benefits.
for sure. Like I wouldn't think, oh no, like you already knew he might get vultured at the goal line with Josh Allen. So like that's just kind of the James Cook thing that could happen to you for sure.
Do you buy into Tucker Kraft at all, who had 9 targets, 6 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown?
I think you could do worse. Like tight end's so bad that it's just like yeah, you could do worse.
He's also consistently been outperforming Musgrave for fantasy at
Yeah,
least. And I think that this is like a very legit stat line. Like with no Watson, like somebody's gonna step up more. And
yeah,
granted, they were trailing so big, they threw it a ton. But I
yeah.
do like Kraft as an interesting sneaky option off the wire.
I think Kate Otten is pretty solid.
I would agree.
You know what I mean? Like he's getting work.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know, like back-to-back games with 8+ targets. Like he's part of the offense. Like I don't know, he's better than I thought he'd be.
Tight end is so gross. I agree. I think Kate Otten very legit. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. There are a few other names to mention, like Fryermuth had a decent game, but we can probably call it now. Yeah, is there any any closing thoughts you have?
Real bleak week, but it's a long season. You got to keep trucking forward the best that you can for sure. You got to be, like open to new opportunities, new pivots, and yeah, for tonight, here's hoping for a Seattle Detroit shootout.
It's a
I think
weekly game, so you still have a shot. But do you think the Seahawks win tonight, or do you think
I
the
hope they
Lions win?
do. I hope the Seahawks win. I like, in terms of teams I like for the season, I like the Seahawks for this season, and I hope that they win. I think it'd be a big, meaningful win for them. It would really, because I want that division to be interesting. Like I'd like it
Yeah,
to be really, ooh, who's gonna win? Because I think the Cardinals are still frisky with it, but I want there to be competition for the Niners.
yeah. They've
And
really
I,
grown
and I
on
feel like
me.
that means more.
I was very down on them in the offseason, but these first three games, I liked what I've seen, and I think without Kenneth Walker, like they could really be better. So
Mhm.
tonight is like their first like real test, and
Yeah.
it'll be the true like deciding factor of like, okay, are they legit,
Mhm.
and can they make us a splash this year? I like
Mhm.
their defensive chances because they shut down Goff last year. At least
Yeah.
the Ravens did,
Yeah,
um,
kind of,
with
yeah.
Mike
So they should
McDonald,
remember.
and then the Seahawks also beat the Lions as well. So I like their chances. Do you think the Dolphins or Titans win?
Well, real quick also, because if the Lions lose, then I also think the NFC North is a lot more open. Because then
Yeah,
it's like, well, hey, Green Bay, I don't think anyone's discounting Green Bay after the
no.
Vikings loss, but it's more like, oh, the Vikings are legit. Like this is a real football team. And that puts those three much closer. And it kind of feels like it's anyone's thing.
And it
So
still kind of feels like the Bears could go like 9-8 and
yeah,
like be in the conversation. So
yeah.
yeah, that the NFC North is going to be really
So I'd much prefer, just for like football, a football standpoint, that the
yeah.
Seahawks win for sure.
But what about the Dolphins and Titans?
Man, it could, like, Tyler Huntley starting
Yeah.
for the Miami. I mean, he was a Pro Bowler. And like he can. I don't think it matters too much, but you're hoping that he's decent. You're hoping he at least is good enough to get the ball to Tyreek Hill. But Tennessee's defense is legit. Like it could, I think Will Levis is shit, and like both defenses could really go off this week.
The
Uh,
game could be very close
yeah,
tonight. I think the last time I checked the poll on the channel, it was literally 50-50. And like one vote was like tiny, like it maybe like 50.5 to 49.5,
yeah.
but it was dead even, and it'll come down to Will Levis and his mistakes. I think that's the deciding factor.
I think so too, for sure. And if Mike McDaniel is able to make a very basic playbook where it's like, hey, Tyler, just get the ball to Tyreek, like real quick, and then just try to make some plays in the open space.
All right, so you have Miami.
I'll take Miami because I really don't believe in Will Levis.
Okay.
I don't think he's a starting quarterback. So if they win, it's because of their defense. I think if any team gets a pick six, that might be enough to tip the scale for sure.
Yeah, so we agree tonight, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But I enjoyed it. Thanks for talking with me, Angus, once again.
Mhm.
And to anyone who's still watching, thanks for joining us as well. We'll see you next time.